I had a bunch of them here. So this is the first one. This sort of talks about what we were talking about. Aussie experts chilling Chinese EV warning. They're going to blow up, right? So if you just see that and you've just bought yourself your BYD, or I don't even know what Chinese EVs they are, but oh shit, now the car that you told me I had to buy because, you know, I could be a responsible citizen and environmentally friendly is now going to blow up. There are car parks. There's a story about this. I wasn't going to share it, but like basically car parks across the nation that are full of BYD cars because they're not selling. Right. So this is the first example.
Let me hang on. Let's pause on this for a second because there's a couple of things here.
Right.
The main risk. Do you remember the movie? Oh gosh, it was an apocalypse movie that was partly funded by the Obamas.
Yeah, it just happened. Like the ship comes onto the beach and it had Julia Roberts in it.
Yeah, and you have that scene where all the cars have stopped and the self-driving cars are smashing, and piling up and that sort of stuff. What this cybersecurity expert was warning of, I can't remember his name, is that these are connected cars. These are internet connected cars. In the same way, like I've got a robot vacuum cleaner. That thing has to be connected back to a server in China. Like, explain that to me. Why does a robot vacuum cleaner need a connection back to a server? So these cars need connection. And unfortunately, they have been designed with vulnerabilities. They're not vulnerabilities as far as the Chinese are concerned, but they are vulnerabilities as far as we're concerned. And think about the impact. Let's say that there was some sort of an actual conflict, right? And someone in China flicks a switch, and let's put aside exploding. In theory, the batteries could be deliberately mismanaged to the point that it would start fires. But let's put that aside for a second and just say that every single BYD, every single MG, because they're Chinese owned, every single one of these electric cars just simply turns off. Can't be moved, can't be used.
Yeah.
It stops wherever it is, on the freeways, in people's driveways, in shopping center car parks, in the middle of intersections. Just every single one turns off. How many tens of thousands of roadblocks have just been created in Australia, let alone in the US, in Europe, etc.? So I actually think the warning here is real. Yes, the media are hyping it. They're trying to get eyeballs. This is the game that we play. But I'm actually going to go into bat a little bit for this particular warning. This is actually a problem. Now, on the BYD car parks thing, BYD are moving a decent number of cars in Australia, and they don't have a traditional dealer network. So in Melbourne, if you were driving out on the Westgate Bridge towards Geelong, you could look to your right and you would see these car parks filled with newly arrived cars. There'd be Volkswagens and Toyotas and all that stuff. They need a fair amount of logistical space to store their inventory as it's coming into the country. BYD don't have that. They're a brand new brand in Australia. They don't have that established logistical infrastructure. So they outsourced it. I looked into this story. I was going to do a video on it and then decided there wasn't enough of a story here. They outsourced it to another logistics company who then went and made deals with things like theme parks and so forth that only have seasonal operating periods. And so they started using those car parks as their logistical staging areas. Now, the sales have not met expectations. It's not that they're not selling, but they haven't met expectations. And there are large numbers of these cars sitting around now. And that's been sort of turned into a big kind of palaver. I don't really buy into it. That is just the vagaries of business. Yeah, there we go.
Leave the World Behind is the movie.
Leave the World Behind. That's the one. This is a genuine possibility, right? This is not pure fantasy. Right. I'm not saying it's definitely going to happen, but this is not outside of the realms of genuine possibility with all of the Chinese cars that we have in Australia today. So I'm kind of going to defend the media a little bit here and say, actually, I think that's a fair warning and that is something the media should be talking about.
Yeah, and you make a good point, to be fair. You make a really good point. But I think there is also someone behind the scenes fanning the flames of hysteria. Because we also, you've had that one. I'm just pulling up this other one. Hang on, sorry, I got to remove that. Because I just keep saving all these articles just to show you, like, if you go and look at news.com or Channel 9 or Channel 7, you look at all the headlines, you would think the apocalypse is here. So here is another one. 2050 prediction should horrify every Aussie. A seriously confronting prediction has emerged showing what Australia might look like within the next 2 decades. So this rhetoric about like shit's happening, things are happening, it's really ramping up. So this is talking about the housing crisis, right? But I just find it really interesting that these headlines are starting to become really, really weighted to like we are heading for a cataclysm. That's where things are going. I didn't even share it. Oh, did I?
Yeah, I was just trying to put it up. There we go. So what is the prediction? What's this prediction that I'm supposed to be horrified by?
Let me read it for you quickly. There is no house prices continuing to skyrocket and smash new records. Many have wondered just what the country's real estate landscape might look like if things keep heading in this direction. New data shows that a long-term average 4% yearly growth rate to project prices to 2050 with truly confronting results. Sydney's median house price set at 1.5 million for 2025 is predicted to more than double in the next 25 years to 3.8 million. Shortly after this was posted, new data was released revealing Sydney's median house price has now risen to a whopping 1.75 million. For Melbourne, the median house price of 953,000 is projected to skyrocket to 2.56 million, and Brisbane could go from 1 million to 2.84 million. Basically talking about long-term pricing.
But that's nothing because the property in Zimbabwe was worth trillions. What they're actually missing here is they've got this exactly backwards. If housing is going up at 4% per year, well, official inflation is running 2.5% or so. Real inflation is running more like 5 or 6%. What we're actually talking about here is the loss of value in our money. Our money is being debased at an absolute rate of knots. And the housing market is the thing that I think most closely reflects that reality. I did a video a while ago on the fact that if you were buying a house in gold, if you were just paying ounces of gold, houses are actually the same or even cheaper than they've been historically. It's because our dollars are debasing so quickly that we think house prices are actually going up. They're one of the few things that's actually keeping up with real world inflation. So what we're talking about here is not the shock of how much houses are going to be worth in 25 years. It's the shock of how little our money is going to be worth in 25 years.
Yeah. I just think at this point, I was trying to say this yesterday. I don't have the right way of saying it, but we were talking about Zohan Mandani.
Yes.
And someone sent me a video, and it was like a very pro-socialist video that's gone mega viral on social media. And they're like, "Oh, Carly, have you seen this? What do you think about this? What do we do?" And I said, "Let him have it. Honestly, let him have it." At this point, like that is the answer. There is no turning the ship around until people get a taste for it. And I think when it comes to the housing crisis, green energy, energy prices going through the roof, housing prices going through the roof, let them have a taste. Like, honestly, that's what I don't know what else you can do. If you haven't woken up by this point, well, you've survived another episode and you're still here watching. So at this point, you should probably go and subscribe. And if you don't, you are going to be at the wrath of Spicy Carls. And whilst you're there, empty your pockets. There's a buy us a coffee button, and we'd really appreciate it so that I can show up every day and just make Topher's life an absolute living hell. Much appreciated.